Welcome back to What the Flix. I'm Gabi.
I'm Harrison.
If you're new here, thanks for joining us. And if you're coming back, what's up?
What's poppin'?
Thanks for coming back.
For real. Make sure y'all follow. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. Also, follow us on Spotify so that way you'll get notifications of when we upload. And of course, we got socials in the link in the description below. Gabby, start us off.
So this week, we're going to talk about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the
Yes,
Disney
sir.
Plus show. The
Mm-hmm.
Blizney. I said Blizney. Oh my goodness. The
Oh,
Disney
no.
Plus TV, the Disney Plus TV series. And of course, we're going to discuss some of the differences from the movies, the movies that were made and the book. So that's definitely what we're going to do today.
Mm-hmm.
I have read the book and Harrison has not, so
No,
we're
I have
definitely
not.
going to have like a little bit of a thing here. Of course, you guys are going to see me look at my notes, and if you hear a little, I have like
Yeah,
7 pages front and back of notes because
pretty
there
much
were 8
14 pages.
episodes. Yeah, because there were like 8 episodes, so like I have a lot written down about like like all the differences. Because who could remember all of that? Honestly,
Nah, for
don't
real.
shame me.
And
If
yeah,
you want some in-depth stuff, they gonna be notes.
yeah, and y'all don't judge me for not reading the books. I mean, I'm not a big reader
Who
in
could judge
general.
you?
I
Who
mean,
could judge you? The books came out 20 years ago. Who could judge you?
hey, listen, you never know. People might be like, Harrison, you like this and that. Hey, man, I'm just watching the show. I'm gonna talk about my likes and dislikes. And so far, most of the episodes are high content, high quality. So,
I mean, I doubt somebody would really judge you for not watching not reading the book. Plenty of
yeah,
people didn't read the Harry Potter books and just watch the
true,
movies. I don't think
true.
like people would just go out of their way to judge you for not reading the books, the lightning theme. A lot of people weren't into like Greek mythology and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I was hardcore down. I was hardcore down for it. Rick Riordan. First of all, I'm just gonna make sure everybody knows because it's Rick Riordan. It ain't Riordan. It ain't Reardon. It ain't all of that. It's Riordan. Like I went to one of the book signings and he said think of fire. It's Riordan.
Oh, I didn't know you went to a book signing.
Yeah, when he came out with the Egyptian series that he did,
Mm-hmm.
I got the first one, he signed that one.
Hey, that's
I
cool.
don't
That's
even know
cool.
where that book is. I have it somewhere.
Oh, okay. That's what's
Um,
up.
but yeah, I I was like, I think I was like in high school when that one came out. But yeah, the fact that he did so many different series, I hope that we like at least get to the Roman one that he did, like the Roman one. Oh man, I love the
Mm.
Roman series because the Roman one came the
The
after Percy
Olympians.
Jackson ends. After Percy Jackson ends,
Mm-hmm.
like then we get the Roman series, and after the Roman series ends, then we get the mesh. We get the crossover series, and we get the Heroes of
Ooh.
Olympus. And the
Ooh.
Heroes of Olympus was so good, if I'm remembering that correctly. But I believe so
Now that
because
sounds fire.
Rick is a great writer and he introduces Percy, right? And then he introduces, and I haven't read it in a long time, so forgive me for not remembering who is the kind of head, like figurehead of the Roman series, but then you get like that character and, that world. And then we mesh those together to get the Heroes of Olympus. And then because Greek and Roman mythology kind of are so
Yeah,
similar,
they overlap pretty much almost.
and so like those two come together, and it's just like,
Oh,
and
that
then
if they do that, yeah, I can tell that it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be
uh,
fire as hell.
if we get that far, which we probably won't, but a girl could dream.
Somebody better pick it up or pick up Riordan.
A girl could dream. A
Yeah.
girl could dream.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Egyptian mythology one, which I have to admit, I only like there was 3 books in that one, and there honestly, I only liked the first and the second one because the 3rd book was booty. I vividly remember the 3rd book being booty. I donated the 3rd book because, like, it was so booty, I didn't even keep that one. I
That's
had
how
that
you
one in
know.
paperback.
That's how you know his ass.
Like, I had that one in paperback, and I prefer hardcover books, like,
More authentic.
I that one was booty. It didn't really make sense. Booty. Um, and then after that one is the Norse mythology one, I think. I didn't read those. By that time, I was in college and I had aged out of this this kind of like writing.
Yeah.
I'd aged out. Like, I know like the guy I was dating at the time, he had the first one, and I was like trying to read it, and I just don't have the attention span for reading anymore. Apparently, I was just like I can't even focus on it.
Yeah.
But I was like surprised he was still writing these books. But yeah, like he still is coming out with stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, this is really impressive.
That's cool.
Like you just imagine. I think like the Norse one is the child of I'm not sure if it was the child of Thor or the child of Odin, but it was one of those.
Okay. Big part.
So Percy Jackson and the Olympians is because before, if you watched our last episode, I mentioned that I thought that the series was named Percy Jackson, like it was named Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, but I was mistaken. It really is, the series really is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I was mistaken. Um, so this season though is based after the first book, The Lightning Thief,
Yep.
book number 1.
Numero uno.
Um, and Rick Riordan is one of the writers of the season. If nobody knew, he's one of the co-writers, one of the like heads of the season. So that is really important, and one of the main reasons why I wanted to watch the show in the first place. I mean, when the writer of this series or your movie is the head of your actual content, that's actually very important because they have the care and the knowledge to actually like push forward their idea for what the media actually is.
Yeah, they're literally, you have the blueprint sitting right next to you pretty much. That's why you're always going to hear me say have the writer with a director as they're filming it, cuz he or she knows, hey, I don't like that, or like you have to have them in casting. Like Rick Riordan was a part of the casting crew as well. Like he
Mhm.
handpicked all of these characters. So for him to do that should tell y'all
Mhm.
he's about his stuff.
And just like even think about, I actually forgot what I was going to I forgot what I was going to say actually. I think I was about to he wasn't in the casting for, I mean, he wasn't involved in the movie at all. Think about that. That movie was a hot mess. Now I know that you enjoyed the movie, but you had no
Well,
prior knowledge of what
it,
the
yeah,
the source material was.
yeah, I did.
So I mean, like in a way, that's
Yeah,
fair. I
yeah.
mean,
But after watching this, after watching the whole season and watching shout out Movie Flame, um,
oh, I was about to
after
make several shout outs
yeah,
to
yeah,
Movie
we're
Blame.
we're
So
gonna keep
yeah,
on. Yeah,
the
we're gonna.
hashtag shout out Movie Blame.
Yep. Watching his videos on each episode too, along with my interpretation of the shows or the episodes. Um, I was like, damn, they really messed up. And hey, I like the show way better. I'll say that much.
Yeah, the movie wasn't a wasn't.
wasn't good.
Let's just say the movie wasn't a representation of the book at all. At
It-
this, like,
yeah, for Rick to send you a whole email that said, "Listen, I'm
this is
giving y'all
booty.
this is trash. This is
He
trash.
basically said, "This is booty. Throw it
I'm
away.
I'm not gonna
Throw it
be a
away."
part of this, and if y'all do, it's gonna be trash at the box office." And guess what happened? It was trash at the box office. So
He also said, "Stop sexualizing these characters because they're supposed to be children."
right, exactly. And so he made it for his son or for his kids, son or kid. I can't remember if he had
For
multiple.
his son,
For his
who
son.
also had a learning disability, just like he. It was part of why he made it. He
Yeah.
made a story for his son
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hey.
who had a learning disorder, which is part of like the whole thing about the um the demigods. They all have learning disorders, dyslexia,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
because like their brain is built to read ancient Greek, so it kind of jumbles up the words for them while they're reading. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
like interesting take. I've
Yeah.
always thought that part of it was like really intricate. I thought that was I've always liked that.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. So episode 1 is I accidentally vaporized my pre-algebra teacher. So the show opens on a quote that is basically is a summarized like version from the book. It's like based on something that comes from the book. Um if you think you might be one of us, turn around while you still can. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Mm.
Now, I like this quote because it basically directly opposes what he says at the end of the show.
Right.
It completely opposes the tone of the end of the show, where he sounds like very much more welcoming to the idea of being a demigod. It's like they did that very well.
Yeah.
Percy's attitude, it showcases very well Percy's opposite attitude, like how Percy's attitude towards the gods and being a demigod has completely changed,
Right.
and that's very well done. um Early on we see they add Percy as a child, like flashbacks to Percy being a child, which we didn't really get before and
Mm-hmm.
don't really get in the book. And in introduction to Percy, like seeing stuff. So we see, which is also a good introduction to the mist, which is essentially a like veil for humans or mortals to be unable to see what the demigods are able to see. So like the we see like a rhino, like a metal rhino, and it turns into um
A
we see
dump
it
truck.
turn into a yeah, like a dump truck.
Mm-hmm.
Or their teacher turns is Electo, which is who's a fury, um a type of like I don't even know how to describe what a fury is, like a type of like
Um,
demon
I was about to say
freaking
like a demon bat.
yeah.
Really is.
um or the Pegasus Blackjack was on like the top of a building.
Yeah, he was on
um
the top of the building when he was looking out across the
yeah,
street.
so like I said, and there's other times later on in the show that we see the mist, like the chimera on the train, and when it passed by like a bunch of other people, like a couple on the train, and it just was a chihuahua to them, which
Yeah.
is hilarious because the chimera is literally like a giant, like
like dragon
lion,
lion.
like a dragon lion thing. So like for it to be like this huge animal and like the
Mm-hmm.
people see it as a freaking chihuahua is hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like the to show the mist early on is really great, and to actually be able to showcase the mist was good because the movie didn't showcase the mist. It
Mm.
like
Movie was
another
so
thing,
uh,
they didn't showcase the mist really well, and the whole thing with like Grover's legs. I forgot because I didn't write this down, but the thing with Grover's legs, the show had Grover's legs out the whole time, and I love that because it's another thing that like kind of just
yeah,
lets you know that the mist is there.
Grover in the movie was just wearing pants all the time
And
versus
he had the crutches,
yeah,
and
had
it's
the
like
crutches.
Grover never had that. Grover just
Hmm.
walked around.
Yeah.
Grover never had like what what the crutches. Ew,
Yeah.
what is this? Like what? Oh, it's because he has goat legs. It's like, huh? Like what?
Yeah. It doesn't
The
make any sense.
but because of the mist, like he would just have legs.
Yeah.
So it was like to me that was a change that never made any sense. And I told Harrison that, and he was like, "Huh?"
Yeah. I was like, wait, what?
I literally told Hevison, "Oh my gosh, there's
Wow. Who this? Who this Everton? What just say? Who?
I was trying to move past it.
Who?
I was trying to tell Harrison about the mist part, and he was just like, "Wait, what?"
Like it was
And like he
pissing
had
me
no
off.
idea.
Like like I never plus I never watched any like people's YouTube videos about the movie about Percy Jackson because I saw it so long ago when we were like in middle school or something that I'm just like, oh, this is a cool movie. And Gabby's telling me all this stuff of like, oh yeah, Grover never had crutches, and oh by the way, this never happened. And I'm just like, what? What? Like, bro, was anything accurate? No, it wasn't. Not a damn thing was. And I was getting so like annoyed. I was loving the show, but every time I would talk to Gabby about it, like, oh yeah, I really like this in this episode and blah blah blah. She's just like, oh yeah, that never happened. And I'm just like, you know what? I'ma just screw it.
So let's talk about hashtag not my Grover scene #1. Because I'm sorry, there's so much I love about this show, but one thing I didn't like about this show was Grover.
Yeah. Oh, before we get into Grover, his mom that went in one of the first scenes in the flashback, and she told him that quote about not everyone who looks like a hero is a
Oh,
hero,
it's yeah.
and not everyone who looks like a monster is a monster. That had to be one of the hardest quotes I've heard. Not
And
gonna
then
lie.
that comes back to be like that's foreshadowing for the thing with Medusa.
Yeah, in episode I think 3, like it was just great. Sorry, go ahead about your Grover take.
We really should have mentioned that this is gonna have spoilers, but I think that was implied.
Yeah, if y'all
I'll
haven't
definitely put
watched
that in the description.
if y'all haven't watched Percy Jackson and the Olympians, don't watch this video. Don't listen to this podcast. Watch the series. I mean, watch the season and then come back here. Right now we're talking about episode 1. So
Right? Like let's just talk about episode 1. I'm glad I stopped and started thinking about it, but
mhm.
we haven't really given any
Any,
spoilers yet.
yeah, nah,
I haven't really gotten there yet, but yeah, spoilers because we're going all the way to the end.
facts.
But yeah, hashtag not my Grover scene #1. Because there's more than one. This ain't my Grover. I'm just gonna say that now. This ain't Grover.
Y'all be prepared. Get your popcorn ready.
This ain't no. No, 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 no,
Okay,
no, no.
okay, 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 okay.
No. I
Okay.
refuse. I wrote it down right here. He snitched on Percy. There's periods in between each one. He snitched on Percy. My
Uh,
Grover would not have snitched on Percy. They get in trouble at school after because Percy goes to a private school. So he snitched on Percy after they're getting bullied by this girl, right? She throws her lunch at them, right?
yeah.
Percy gets upset. He goes up to her and he puts his hands up like this, but he doesn't actually push her,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes into the water.
Yep.
Now, they get in trouble. They go to the principal's office. This scene didn't happen in the books, by the way. This is something new. They go to the principal's office. Percy is like, nah, I didn't push her, because he didn't. He like, nah, that ain't me.
Mm-hmm.
And the principal's basically asking Grover, well,
What
what
happened?
did you see? And Grover's like, well, I did see Percy have his hands near her. And I'm like,
And Percy looking at him like, what?
and I'm looking at him like that too, because it's like,
Gave him the
but you're
whole
supposed to
side
be
eye.
my best friend, though. Grover is literally Percy's only friend. Percy gets bullied.
Yep.
Grover gets bullied. Like they
That's how
each
they
other's
bonded.
only friends.
That's how they bonded. That's how they became best friends, getting bullied together.
They literally play Mytho Magic, which is basically demigod Yu-Gi-Oh. It's it's really Yu-Gi-Oh for demigods. It's like how it was Grover's way of like training
Percy
Percy
into interacting
into
with
like
all the monsters.
knowing, yeah, into knowing what the different monsters and creatures were in this universe. And it's like, this is your only friend, and then he just go and snitch on you, and you're like,
Rat.
but why though? Like, my Grover would like definitely would have thought of a different way out of this situation, because the only reason why Grover snitched on him was to get him kicked out of school. Like, they needed
Mm-hmm.
him to get kicked out of school because like Percy had to escape because like things were after him. He needed to go to camp.
Yeah. Electo was on Electo, Minotaur was on his way too. It was pretty
It was different
much,
things. He
yeah.
needed to like, he needed to get up out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my problem is my problem is my Grover would have thought of something better. He wouldn't have been right in front of Percy, right in front of his boy,
Mm-hmm. And
and
lying
made
on
it
him.
seem like he was finna betray him.
Right. Like would he like I would ask, would he like would he make a scenario where both of them get expelled or get kicked out or
Yeah,
something?
probably something like that. Like,
Yeah.
he would have made a whole thing where the two of them would have been together. He would not have been like, oh, like this is Percy's
Just
fault.
blaming
Like,
him
he
on him.
wouldn't have like Percy is down for his boy. That's all I'm
Right.
saying. Like,
Yeah.
Grover's main thing is he's Percy's protector, right?
Mm-hmm.
His main thing is he does not leave Percy's side almost ever. Like, so this is your boy. Like, they are really close. Like, this is your boy. How in the world is it that homie snitches on him? And why did they make him such a bitch? Like, I get it. Satyrs are all about peace and whatnot, and
He too much. He too much of a
they're
pacifist.
pacifists and
Oh
whatnot.
wait,
Like,
they are
but
pacifists. Never mind.
yeah, but like, I'm sorry. Like, and I get it. They're kids. Like, that's not my problem. My problem is like Grover was supposed to be like this kind of almost like hippie type boy, and this Grover is just like, it wasn't.
He's just a vegetarian and like,
But he was given vegan,
yeah,
and I'm
vegan.
sorry, it was not giving like the kind of lighthearted like Shaggy. It was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like
that makes sense.
Grover is supposed to be very like Shaggy-esque.
Yeah, that would have made it more appealing at first. I can't even
Yeah,
lie.
but it wasn't. It's not given that, like, because it's really like, even if you go to like the um what am I doing? What am I doing? The graphic novel version, and you look at his character design, it's very Shaggy-esque.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what his character. I'm not saying he had to be white, because the boy that they casted isn't white, so I'm not saying he has to be white. I'm saying personality wise, he's supposed to
yeah.
be Shaggy-esque.
Right, right.
And that's what I meant by like hippie type. Like, he's supposed to be like that
Mm-hmm.
kind of character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they just and they wrapped his character up into like one thing. His whole character was, I just want to search for Pan, and I'm like, if he say that one more time, if he
Yeah,
mentions
I was.
the search for Pan one more time, I get it. That's like the Lord and Savior for these satyrs. But goodness gracious, if he mentions that one
I'm.
more time, I'm
I'm
gonna
not
go
gonna.
crazy.
I'm not gonna lie. I was the amount of times that he was talking about it, I'm like, bro, who is this pen? He must be really powerful. And then come to find out later down the line, and I think it was like episode like 6 or something, or 5. Um, he was just pretty much the protector of all animals in the world, and
Like the
um
forest and animals, but like that's like what satyrs are about. Like that's like what the thing that satyrs
yeah,
care about the most. Like, I
right,
get
right.
it, but at the same time, it's like
Yeah, can't
Grover's
be.
personality was like wrapped up into that. Like, that's the only thing he cared about. And like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, does he care about anything else?
Other than Pan, 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 Pan.
They didn't give him anything else, and I was like, it was like
Innocent.
he would see somebody else, but then go talk to them about Pan. Did you ever find Pan? Uncle Fernando, did you ever find Pan?
This is all episode 1, y'all. He gets better. He gets better. But this is just episode 1.
No, I started talking about like that was the Lotus episode where he found like his uncle or something, or
No,
his cousin.
no, yeah, yeah.
And he
But
was like,
like,
"Oh, you got your searcher's license, and then what? Did you ever find Pan? Pan is here." I was like, "Dang, you still
yeah,
got this boy talking about Pan? He on a VR journey looking for Pan.
yeah.
Damn,
He
this
better,
boy just don't stop."
he better find Pan in the. I was about to say second book in the second season or something. I know, no spoilers. Don't spoil it, but I'm just saying.
Well, on to Percy's mother, Sally Jackson.
Go.
They added a lot to her character, and I
Mm,
really like that. They depthen. Oh my gosh, they added depth to her character, like teaching Percy ancient Greek,
mm-hmm.
and you know, educating him more on the Greek gods.
Yeah. And
And that's important.
like their whole relationship too. Like even in I can she's pretty much she's gonna compare it to like books and the downfall of the movies, but I'm more so doing it based off of the movie. I mean the show and the movie, and I like how they portrayed Percy's mom Sally way better because you get this like you said they added depth to her character of like in one flashback this was probably one of the most heartwarming ones where she's teaching Percy how to swim and
Yeah.
Percy's not letting go of the edge of the pool and Sally's like, Percy, let go. We've been sitting here for like 15 minutes. Come on, you got to learn because I'm not going to be able to protect you. I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to be
We
there
paid
one
for
day.
this class.
We pay for this class. As a parent, I'm not going to lie, as a parent always is. We pay for this. You better get out in this water.
And you got to remember, they don't have a lot of money.
Right. And Percy, and she's getting all flustered. And Percy's like, breathe, mommy. That's what you always tell me to do. And you just see her just like, and just give him a hug. And I'm not gonna lie, that reminded me of me and my mom. It was heartwarming as hell. So, and for her to talk to also tell him about all the stories about Greek mythology, about all the gods and goddesses, it really shows you that she's that one. She's that mom. Don't mess with her.
Also, there's an Easter egg in when Percy and Grover are in the office, when they're in the principal office. Shout out to Movie Flame for pointing this one out because I never would have found it without him.
Wagwan.
The famous painting of George Washington is in the back of the principal's office, and it's a nod to the books where they mentioned that George Washington is a demigod, son of Athena.
Damn.
So yes. And the George Washington thing, I remembered. I didn't realize that painting was back there. The scene's way too darkly lit, and I was just like, "Oh
Nah,
shit,
yeah.
that's big."
Yeah.
Walker Scobell, Leah Savage Jeffries,
Fantastic. Smacked it out of the park. Embodied the characters from what Gabby told me, but even just by because, like you said, they're children, and Percy Walker Scobell.
Walker Scobell is so good. Oh my gosh,
This little dude, man,
I love it so much. Walker Scobell killed it.
he killed every part of it, every scene, every type of dialogue, facial expression, you name it.
Walker Scobell. Let me just take a second to talk about Walker Scobell. Let me just take a second. Walker Scobell, he's adorable. And he really set Percy, just like book Percy, just like Harry Potter Percy, is really sassy. Like that sarcasm, that really like
That
sharp
quick
wit
witty.
through that really comes through all the time. So
He can
I'm
be
glad that we got to see that here because we didn't really get to see that in the movie.
no. He was
And
legit. He was grown as hell, pretty much. Like he
yeah,
did. He might as well have been in college.
yeah.
Like
And kind of similar to like Harry Potter, where like they didn't really like Harry had those little sassy moments, but he didn't really like have that full like. I'm not
embodiment.
really gonna get into like Harry Potter. We might do an episode one day on Harry Potter books versus series, but like, because those who read the books like will probably know like why they make certain changes. Sometimes it's to be more marketable, and I've always thought that's why they changed like Harry's like real personality, because like I'm pretty sure that it's because of like personality. I
Yeah.
mean, like marketing standpoints, because Harry's actually kind of mean. Um, low key, kind of mean.
Got you.
He's just like sassy enough to come off kind of like mean. And I'm pretty sure they made him like they changed his personality to be like more marketable to a wide audience
Right, right. But
because he's
Walker's
the head of
cold.
the series to like be a more tender presence to have your chosen one, your head of your series to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
a more inspiring person.
yeah,
You know, this is your hero. They want him to be a more inspiring presence.
yeah,
I really think it's a marketing choice.
yeah. But Walker Scobin, man, freaking, he's, and in certain scenes he was like a smart ass, but like in a like witty way. Like it was
Right.
like quick on his feet, everything.
Right. Sometimes it's just like, "Hmm," and he's just like, and I mess with it, and that's what I've always loved. It's
Mm-hmm.
perfect. And then Leah Savage Jeffries, she perfectly embodied everything that Annabeth is. And I'm always concerned about diversity casting, but
We
like
both are. Mm-hmm.
this felt right. Like this show had some serious diversity casting. Like a lot of people were just randomly black, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people were randomly black and great.
Yeah.
Like shout out to
Shout out
Chiron,
Kyron.
and
Yeah.
I was about to say Chiron and Zeus.
Yep.
Like,
R.I.P. Lance
hey,
Reddick.
I was about to say Lance
R.I.P.
Reddick
Lance
was
Reddick.
amazing, but we're getting there
Mm-hmm.
soon.
Yeah.
Well, probably not soon. We got another like 6 page.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Um. So yes, they were just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Standout, wonderful.
The
I loved it.
CG, the CGI,
I
this,
oh my goodness, CGI
bruh,
wonderful. The
the vet.
Minotaur scene could have been better. Honestly,
Really,
could have been better. I
really.
think the way the Minotaur scene, the way Percy fights is really the problem. Like
I
the
mean,
Minotaur scene could have been better in the sense of it seemed kind of haphazard to me because Percy went ham in the books.
hmm
That's what I'm saying. And sure, he tore off the Minotaur's like horn, but like
yeah.
and stabbed it with it. But it looked like he did that crap on accident.
Well, I mean,
Like
yeah,
it like he like wasn't really like trying to do what he tried to do. Like he was
he was trying to
like
like try and control it or something.
right. It just when Percy did that, he did it with intent.
Mm.
And in that scene, it didn't really look like he went in with the intent of trying to do it.
Hmm.
Like it just looked like he ended up on top of the bull and he just was like, now I'm gonna break it.
Right.
There was more like of a well thought out thing that he did originally. And
I think.
Percy is like a really like I wouldn't say necessarily skilled fighter. He's a very kind of chaotic like fighter,
Right.
and he'll
Hmm.
just pop 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 pop. Like
He's
he'll
he's
just
just
go
he's
in
just
and he just
he's just in the moment type of
yeah,
fighter.
and he'll just go in like
Yeah. Mink, mink,
that's
mink,
why
mink,
we love
mink,
it.
mink.
Yes, he'll go in and he'll start knocking him he'll start knocking them down.
I
And
think
once he
that
started to learn how to sword fight, then it was dead and gone.
right. Dead and gone, dead and gone.
They like we
I think with the Minotaur scene, I liked it not only because the CGI for the Minotaur was just fantastic,
mm,
but I think they wanted to show like I mean I know in the book he's about wanting to kill the Minotaur, but I think for the series, I guess they wanted to show like he doesn't know how to fight as well because this is like the first encounter with it. So he's just pulling out all the bags and tricks because
but that's my point.
yeah,
Like I was kind of like the thing about Percy. He was a natural fighter. Even when it happened with Electo at the beginning,
Mhm.
he kind of like beat her ass.
Yeah.
Like he like beat her ass with intent. The first like he like,
Mhm.
whereas like it happened in the series and he did it by accident with the flip of the pen and it just kind
So
of
they
like,
so they just flipped.
yeah, they kind of just flicked the pen and it stabbed her.
Yeah.
Like that was like his first encounter and it, but in the book he actually like he was actually getting it.
Right. Right. Got you. Got you.
So like Percy just comes across as a natural fighter, but when it comes to forbidden children, they tend to be more the most powerful. And I'm
Yeah.
getting to
Yeah.
forbidden children in just a second. Like, hold on, y'all. I'm just in the middle of a full thought. So when it comes to forbidden children, like they're they're actually just stronger than all the other demigods. So it's like it
Yeah.
makes sense that they are
The strongest.
they're the strongest. They're just kind of more capable naturally. It's one of those things that kind of like comes along later on in the story, and I think they just wanted to like kind of sweep that under the rug so they didn't have to constantly like be explaining the whole forbidden children thing, and just be like, oh yeah. Why is he so strong? He's overpowered. He's overpowered. He's overpowered on the whole like Goku thing. Like I get it. I think they just toned it down because they didn't want to go like completely Naruto on him.
Right. Right.
And they just toned down his power level, even though like as a forbidden child you're required, it's in the
It's in your
kind of,
blood.
right, you're, it's like you say, in your blood. You naturally have more power than any other demigod. Like I said, I'm circling back to forbidden children. I kind of have like a set thing that I'm coming to, so like I'll talk about that when we get there. Just give me a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Um, so we're heading on to episode 2. I become Supreme Lord of the Bathroom,
We're good.
and it actually opens on a famous line that a lot of fans were mad was missing from the movie. You drool when you sleep, and that was said by Annabeth, looking at Percy.
Mhm.
Because Percy wakes up, and I should have said that Percy wakes up in the
Mhm.
infirmary.
Yeah. And
Infirmary.
while he was fighting the Minotaur, quote unquote, uh, killed his mom, and he saw
Like
that.
crushing her.
Yeah, crushed his mom, and that's when you see Riptide. Oh, cool looking sword with the light glowing, and that's when
Uh,
after he destroys the Minotaur, he wakes up in the infirmary.
um Also, one of my favorite lines from the book made it into the movie. I mean, not the movie, the show. Peter Johnson is here. I I love that line so much.
Chiron, Peter Johnson is here.
Like this man, he was just like Percy just walks into the room and he just like Percy Jackson, and then this man just goes, Peter Johnson is here. You just like the pure just awkwardness of that. And honestly, it's said by Mr. D, aka
Dionysus.
Dionysius.
Is it Dionysus or Dionysus?
I think it's Dionysius. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
I used to say Dionysius when I was younger, but I think it's Dionysus.
Oh, okay.
Dionysius.
Got you.
But I never say it right. Honestly, sometimes the names are too hard to be trying to
Mm.
think about whether you say it right or wrong.
Yeah.
It Creek names.
Right.
What you gonna do?
Facts. Facts.
But yes. The camp shirts look great. The bead necklaces that they have, those, I'm glad they had those because they did not have those in the I was saying the necklaces in the
In the
movie. They
movie.
didn't have those. Um I don't even remember if they were wearing the camp shirts in the movie.
They were.
They were?
I think so. Well, yeah, I think they were. I think they were. If it was, even if it was, still, you don't really see it that much.
How was it to say? I don't really remember them seeing.
Because
Correct
they
us if I'm wrong, but I don't remember seeing a camp shirt in that show. But they weren't really at camp that long, so maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they had the bead necklaces, which are really important, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Each bead represents a special event from the year or summer that they spend at the camp. Um, at the end of this summer,
You
Percy
get
and
one
Annabeth.
bead.
Yeah, that's what I said. Each bead.
No, I mean you were saying after this summer, and I said they get one bead added.
Yeah, I was right. I was to say
Um,
Percy and
no,
Annabeth get a bead, and they get a bead with a trident on it. Is where I was going with that.
okay, yeah.
That was their. That was the one because each one has a mark on it that represents a special event. That was my point. Theirs has a trident on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a black bead with a like a turquoise-ish, like bluish turquoise, trident on it.
Mm-hmm.
Luke and Annabeth have the most out of everybody because they've been at camp the longest.
And you.
Luke and Annabeth came to camp together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where they have 5 beads, by the way. They've been there 5 years. And I mean, like, they've never left. They came there and they never left.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Thalia come. I'll just go ahead and talk about. Just thought about. Maybe I'll just talk about Luke and then I'll talk about Thalia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Or I'll talk about Thalia later.
I mean, it's not much.
Okay.
I mean, we get introduced with Luke and Annabeth, and pretty much Luke takes on
Yeah.
like the big brother role for Percy when he gets to camp. Because
Well, that's not what I was gonna say, but yeah,
sorry.
I was gonna say like, but yeah, Luke does take on like a little like leadership role for Percy. But I was gonna say Luke was like, they got Luke right this time. He even had his scar. I was like, go ahead. They
Just
got
like that's what I'm
character
talking about.
design right.
That's what we
Finally,
get. That's what we
right?
watch for.
They took the time to get these character designs right, and I'm like Annabeth had her cap. She didn't have that in the movies. She had the cap that she got from her mom. Clarice had the staff that she got from Ares. Like people were having
That
like the stuff.
that cap that cap scene freaking annoyed me only because when she told me that the cap wasn't in the movie, I'm just like, oh my gosh, they didn't get nothing right. Damn, that cap was cool as hell too.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Like,
nothing. And she had a cap, and it was an invisibility cap.
mm-hmm.
So like these people be having special items, and you don't even like know it. It's like playing an RPG and you have like a sack full of stuff,
And you're
and
just like,
like
oh,
you did like not knowing that you had the sack full of stuff. It was like,
mm-hmm.
but Luke, one of the things I wanted to especially talk about is like we could take him seriously, and in the movie, no, you could not.
He was just
Dude
an
was
ass in the movie.
like it was just a
Stereotype.
douchebag that you just like that you could obviously tell was the bad guy. Like look at him.
Plus, the person who played him in the movie is typecast as a villain anyway, or as an antagonist in every movie or every show or movie that he's in. So you don't take him seriously.
Like it
And
was just like,
the
and
show,
you actually enjoy his presence. Like
yeah,
he came on screen, and I already know Luke's character, so it's like he kind of came on, and I was like, oh my god, it's Luke. But he started talking to Percy, and he was hanging out with Percy, and I was like,
He was
It's
like,
like, yeah. I was like, I enjoy this guy. This guy is I enjoyed him. I felt the I felt like Percy could trust him. I felt the trust. I
yeah,
felt the
like,
reason why he could trust him. I was like, no, he
right,
feels genuine. I
yeah,
I felt that. I felt
yeah,
it.
like he felt like you get this calm presence because
Mhm.
when Percy comes into the it's like pretty much in camp and pretty much Chiron walks him the to the house that pretty much all the children that are in this house that have camp beds and everything, they're not claimed yet. So, well, are they claimed? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Hermes cabin.
It was
Like
Hermes cabin.
it
I'm sorry.
yeah, but a lot of the
Um,
unclaimed kids go to Hermes cabin.
got you. Yeah, and like you can feel like because Percy is known to like be standoffish because he's known to be getting bullied by everybody. So he picks his spot, and you know Luke says, "Hey man, you're Poseidon's kid, huh?" Or something like that. And Percy
That's
goes
not what he
straight.
said. Percy hasn't been claimed
Not
yet.
not I forgot what he said though. He said something, and Percy went straight into defense mode, and Luke's like Gabby said, Luke's presence, like it was just real chill, and it was inviting. He was like, "Hey man, nah, what's up? I'm Luke," and you're just like, "I like this dude. I like him." And pretty much he takes him under his wing, like I said, as like a as a big brother to Percy, showing him around camp and all.
And this is where we get to hashtag not my Grover scene number two. Well, actually, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I need to mention hashtag not my Grover scene number two because
Yeah.
that's in this episode.
Mhm.
Grover finds out that Sally Jackson is alive, and Mr. D and Chiron are like, don't tell him that. Keep it to yourself. Percy's not gonna find out. And I'm just like, okay, okay. And Grover has the nerve to have mixed feelings about this. He's like, "Mm, I don't know. Like, why should I not tell Percy? Why should I not tell Percy? I mean, Grover does do the right thing and tells Percy at the end when they're having their whole meeting about like telling Percy about his quest and whatnot. But
It's not the same.
I mean, he's like in the moment going against everything that like everybody's getting mad at him, which seemed weird. Like sidebar, like it seemed weird that like Percy, who doesn't want to go on this quest in the first place, the incentive for him is to get his mom. So like, why didn't y'all like push the whole like your mom is alive thing? Like, if y'all already knew, the incentive
Yeah,
for him would be
yeah.
like your mom is down there,
Your
bro.
mom is in
Get your
Hades'
mom.
palace. Yeah. That does make a lot of sense. I didn't catch that. I was because
My main
that's
thing
it.
was like, if his mom is alive, why aren't y'all pushing that? Y'all see that he don't want to do this crap in the first place.
Right.
Push the incentive of his mom being alive. Who gonna get your
Mhm.
mama? That would have been my first thing. Who gonna get your mama?
Yeah,
Cause we
that'd be
ain't
his
finna do it.
motivation.
Hades, I mean, Zeus think it's you, so who gonna do it? Who gonna get your mama? And then he would have been right on the stick.
Yeah.
But y'all don't want to talk about his mama. What?
And then Grover
What?
gets punished by telling him that.
Which did not make any sense. Like, my thing is, my Grover wouldn't have done all that foolishness. My Grover would have found out that information, took it straight to Percy. He wouldn't have done
Yeah,
all of this hemming and hawing. He would have been like, oh, word? Percy, come here, come here, come here. I gotta tell you something. Y'all mama alive. We wouldn't have been all like, oh, Sally Jackson's still alive.
that's what
No.
a true
He would
friend
have
does,
gone to
honestly.
Percy. He would have gone to Percy with the info. What we need to talk to them for? What they finna
Yeah,
t- what 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 doesn't make sense to me is why it was written like that. What we need to talk to them for? What in Grover's mind said Sally Jackson is alive, so I need to tell the elders that Sally Jackson is alive. Why do I need to tell the people who are in charge that Sally Jackson is alive? What good is that going to do him? If
Yeah, exactly.
anything,
Exactly.
comforting my friend who thinks that his mother died by telling him that his mother is actually alive would help the most. Like, at
Yeah.
the very least, that would be like my first thought. Like,
Hmm.
not my Grover. if you've ever read if you've ever read Percy Jackson, like, I need to see a hashtag not my Grover in the chat. I mean, in the comments below. Cause like, bro, like, I don't know what they was doing with Grover. And he wasn't even in this he felt like he wasn't really present in the story that much. So it was actually making me mad. Like, I might not have liked this Grover, but he also didn't have a lot of screen time. I was just like, what is this?
It didn't really have much screen time except for like later on in the season. I mean,
Not
yeah.
even then, because he kept being separate from the trio. So it was like,
Oh yeah. I was
it
saying
didn't feel
within
like he
like
had a lot of screen time. It felt like so Walker and Leah had
Leah
the
had
most
more.
screen time all the
Right.
time. Even when they separated the trio, it
Hmm.
still felt like he had a minimal amount of time of screen, like a minimal amount of time on screen. It it just, which was honestly okay because I wasn't feeling Grover, but I felt bad for the actor. Like,
Yeah.
dang.
Because even though um the Grover wasn't accurate book wise, the guy who played him actually did his thing. Well, he
I
he
can't say
he did
because like
I
I
mean he
don't know
did
what
for
direction they gave him.
I mean he did what he did great for what he was given, I should say.
Well, I was about to say like he did what was asked of him. Like,
Yeah. So I
it's
mean,
just like
hey,
not what I wanted. So I'm not gonna shade him for that. But moving forward, Capture the Flag I thought was really great. The girl that played
yeah.
Clarice was great,
Hmm.
or Buff Zendaya, because that's what she looked like. Like, she looked like if Zendaya was like getting them gains, cause like
No, nah, for real. Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
scary looking. Like when Percy broke her staff and
Hmm.
like she started yelling,
Sends chills down your spine.
I was like, why is she scary?
Hmm. But
Um,
she embodied that role because she's the she's the daughter of the god of war. Well, God,
right, yeah.
yeah. So,
She was killing it.
and in the beginning of the fighting scene, when Percy was just chilling and he was doing like the floss
The
dance or
floss.
whatever,
Yeah,
it
do you
was
guys
really
know what
cool.
if you don't know what the floss is,
Look it up,
I'm
y'all.
not even gonna. I mean, I'm just like look it
Yeah,
up because I don't even
yeah,
feel like standing up and doing that.
yeah. I know how to do
Um,
it, but I'm not. Yeah, not gonna do it. But
right,
um,
I'm not doing all of that.
you see
Um,
Percy peeing or whatever, not taking anything seriously.
yeah, he really didn't want to do all of that,
Yeah,
but Percy getting almost attacked by, or basically attacked
he
by
did get
Clarice because
attacked.
she was not messing with him at
Yeah,
all.
because she
Especially
was.
because she tried to dunk his head in the toilet, and she essentially like, well, he ended up starting to use his water powers and
By accident and
splashed her with a like
not splash. He literally hit her ass with a what's it called, a swirly. He reverse swirled
yeah,
her ass.
yeah, like the water just came blasting out of the toilet, like he
Hmm.
broke the toilet, the walls of the toilet,
Right.
and hit her and the other two that came to like jump him.
Because she had beef with him right on the spot. Well, as soon as he got there, because she thought that he was making up him killing the Minotaur. Because she said, there's been plenty of kids that come here saying that they did all this. They just talk a big game, and she had beef right on the spot, and she did not pull her punches whatsoever.
But when they started fighting on the shore of the lake, like
Hmm.
Percy did his thing. Percy did his thing.
Them instincts
Big
were
Perk. Big Perk
Big
came to
Perk.
play.
Big Perk.
Big Perk came to play. Like
Mm-hmm.
when Walker did that little roll into the shield, and then
Mm-hmm.
came up and was like,
And then
and then
pow.
broke the, and then when he broke the
Broke us.
staff,
Yeah, huh?
I was like, hey.
Then
And
Spidey
then
senses
when
were tingling.
and then when Leah pushed him into, or Annabeth pushed him into the water to help him heal, and then that's when he got claimed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I was
I don't
that
know.
was
I don't know who that actor is who plays Chiron. I forgot his name. He's in a lot of stuff. But his voice, I'm not gonna lie, his voice is up there when it comes to narration. Percy, you have been claimed as Poseidon's son, blah blah blah. I was like, I felt like I was there. I'm just like, let's go. Like, man. And of
we
course,
also see in this episode. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
oh, I was gonna say, of course, Annabeth's tactics before the capture the flag started. She was telling everybody where to go, and she
Yeah,
and like her introduction to the show, to what Gabby told me about how Annabeth is, was spot on. Like you can tell, like she's very tactical. She's smart about. She's really smart.
she's
Uh,
the daughter of Athena, the goddess of war
right.
and wisdom.
And yeah, and she doesn't come off as, a know-it-all smart, like an annoying type smart. She's more,
She's
like I
no
said,
Hermione.
right. She's really like tactical about her stuff, and like almost like general like, but but yeah.
Um, so we have at the end of the episode, before we get into episode 3, this is where we set off into the the we find out about the lightning thief in this episode, the fact that Percy needs to go on this quest that basically by the end of the summer solstice, which basically ends in a week, that Percy needs to deliver Zeus's master bolt, which Zeus believes that Percy stole for whatever reason. Uh I'm sorry, I'm about to get myself confused. Zeus believes that Percy stole his master bolt, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody understands that or believes that Hades stole it, right? Either way, Zeus and Poseidon will go into war at the end of the summer solstice if it isn't returned to Zeus by Percy. The summer solstice is essentially at the end of the week, so they have a week to get to Olympus. They need to
Yeah.
go all the way to Los Angeles and retrieve the Master Bolt from Hades, which is where they think the Master Bolt is, and get that to New York, which is
Mm-hmm.
where the entrance to Olympus is, because like
Yeah.
New York is in the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
So I mean they had to do a whole lot of crap.
Hell yeah. And so far, I gave like the first episode like an 8 out of 10. I gave this one like an 8.3, 8.4 out of 10. And this is where it starts getting real good, in my opinion.
Also, in this episode, we also see that Percy has to choose two other people to go on his quest, and he chooses, or does he choose that in the third episode?
No, he chose
No, he chose it in the second episode.
second.
This is a
Yeah.
flashback. I forgot.
Yeah.
Two other people to go on his quest. He chose Grover and he chose Annabeth.
Mm-hmm.
He chose Annabeth because he would in the prophecy he was told by the oracle, which is what I'm going to get to soon. um he was told that he will be betrayed by somebody he trusts the most, So, or by somebody he trusts. He basically was said that he would be betrayed by somebody he trusts. So
Yeah.
he chose Annabeth because he basically believed that the two of them would never be friends, which is crazy because the two of them eventually date. So,
Right.
so it's like,
Whoop, there it
crazy,
is.
right? It's like wild. Then he also chose Grover. So it's like this motherfucker been betraying you. That was a crazy choice. Crazy choice.
Yeah. That's how you know Percy a real one. He's just like, yeah, yeah, I know you snitched on me. I know, but it's all right. You only get how many chances did he give him? He gave him like only 2 chances, I think, or one.
That's all right. That's
Yeah.
like real Grover would have never done this. So it's like
Right.
in his character to be like, yeah, I'll take the person that never would betray me. Grover. Grover would have
Yeah.
never betrayed him.
Yeah.
So episode 3, we visit the Garden Gnome Emporium.
Yeah.
The Oracle is one of the first things we see in this episode, and it looked good overall.
Creepy as hell, but cool.
I think it looked good overall. Um we see the Thalia tree in this episode, and it was never introduced in the movie. And the Thalia tree provides a protective barrier around the camp. And there's just like a bunch of crap about the Thalia tree that I gotta get into. So the Thalia tree, it not only provides a protective barrier around the camp, but Thalia was a forbidden child of Zeus's. Um, Luke and Annabeth were being chased by a fury, and
Electo.
Thalia sacrificed herself. I don't think it was Electo; it was a different one.
But I thought in the
It might have been Electo. I don't remember. It was probably Electo.
Mhm.
Thalia sacrificed herself, so Luke and Annabeth could get to camp, and Zeus basically gave her a mercy kill. He turned her into a tree. He turned her into that tree with the protective barrier around the camp.
Which is
Um,
crazy because that's your damn daughter, bruh.
I mean, she was basically going to die, so he gave her a mercy kill.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
It was either she's gonna die or like
Yeah.
you can kill her
Turn
in
into
a
a
way
tree.
that like really like in a way that kind of like saves her. So,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Annabeth
Yeah.
said in one
Emergency kill.
episode, like she had a hero's death.
Right.
Um, so forbidden children are I told you I was coming back to it. I was coming back to it.
Nice
Forbidden
transition.
children are children of the three most powerful gods, basically the three brothers, basically, or the three most powerful gods. They're all brothers: uh, Hades, Zeus, and Poseidon. The big three, basically. They made a pact not to have any more kids because basically they was popping out OP children. All their
Yeah.
children was overpowered, popping out little Gokus. Like they just was having
OP.
children that were too powerful, so they just agreed not to have any more children. And so anytime one of them has a child outside of that pact, it's referred to as a forbidden child.
And it got a target on its back. Pretty
Basically,
much.
yeah, like all the half bloods have a target on their back, but if you are a forbidden child, it's even bigger because you're basically like so overpowered.
Pretty much a Batman signal to everybody like, go get that little rascal.
Yeah, because especially because the forbidden children are so rare.
Mm-hmm.
So when they actually come out, it's like this child has so much power. I this is mine. I need to do this.
Right.
Um, excuse me. They changed Medusa's character in this episode,
It was
and
so good.
I really like that. Um,
So good.
that was a good change.
Oh,
It
and
was a pretty good change, especially if you know the mythos behind actually like Medusa's character, like not even
mhm.
Medusa's character, but Medusa in general, like the
Yeah,
mythos of Medusa. If you know that, and
she
like if
killed.
you like, ooh, if you know the ooh, then
Yeah.
you know that Medusa's the victim. Like,
Mhm.
uh,
And and she portrayed it so freaking well, and I like how they wrote it. Like,
and I love that they had her like shielding her eyes with that little church hat. That was taking
yeah,
me out.
yeah.
Like
It was suave. I can't even lie.
for real.
It got that church hat, but I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of
I'm
sweet.
not gonna lie. In the movie, I actually liked Uma Thurman's like the design for Uma Thurman.
Mhm. It
Um,
wasn't bad. I think
right, I actually liked that.
if I had to pick between the two, I'd pick the show's Medusa, but
Oh yeah, but I'm saying I
Uma,
like the design. That was
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, it was good. It was cool.
But this I definitely liked it because it definitely leaned in. Like the show was definitely leaning into, the gods definitely suck,
Yeah,
which when I was younger is part of the reason why I definitely gravitated so hard into mythology and like Grecian writing, Shakespeare, all of that stuff, like the Greek tragedy, the tragic writing,
hmm,
Shakespeare, all of that stuff. Like when I was younger, it's definitely why I started leaning into that because like there's something so interesting about the twist of the tragedy of it all.
yeah,
Greek Greek writing is so interesting, or like mythology has like this interesting structure of the the gods being so similar to like humans in the sense of
I was about,
like
yeah,
in the sense of their nature is our nature. So like everything they do is is what we consider now like human nature. So
hmm,
like everything I think that the gods do, they're almost like sex driven nature, their kind of inherently bad nature
yeah,
is so similar to how you would consider like
basic mortals.
basic like human nature is. Now, do often the Greeks would blame that on the gods and say that human basically emulate what the gods created. Yes, but like now you could just say that like humans are inherently bad
Right, which gives them
and
like,
you can choose to be good.
yeah,
It's literally a choice, but like
I really like,
potato tomato.
yeah, like I really like that aspect of it, of
Right.
like it brings humanity towards the gods because when you think that's a god, like pretty much they're untouchable, they have a clean record, everything like that. But when it comes to Greek mythology, it's completely flipped around. Nah, they
Right.
just like you. They're just like big and powerful, and they're gods and
Right.
goddesses. So
Right. But they're
I really like
literally
it.
like it's a mess. It's just
The
like
family
Percy
is
ends up saying
terrible.
at the end, he's like, your family's a mess.
Right.
It's and it's true. It's a mess, and that's what I liked about like tragedy, even when it comes down to like English writing and all of that, like Shakespeare, that
Hmm.
kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
the like I said, the idealism of like tragedy. It's such an interesting form of writing,
Hmm.
reflecting and not romanticizing life and just writing about what's actually kind of or more like the dramatization of life, but kind of trying to reflect how life actually is. It's interesting.
Yeah. Um,
Um, but yes, and if you don't know the mythos of Medusa, she essentially was she was a basically a
sorry.
priestess of Athena, and she was assaulted in a temple of Athena and was punished by Athena
Mm-hmm.
for being
For being with
assaulted.
Poseidon.
That's like no, like it wasn't even by Poseidon,
Damn.
but like she was like assaulted in an Athenian temple,
Okay.
and because she was a priestess of Athena, and you're supposed to remain celibate, like
Right. Yeah.
so she
Yeah.
was punished by Athena,
Mm-hmm.
and then like that's why she got the snakes and stuff like that. But it's like,
That's why Athena cursed her.
and it's
Out
like,
of
bro,
out of nothing that she could have done. Like
it's
that
always just
is
like wild. It's like,
yeah. Yeah.
it's like no, she really is the victim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She really is a victim. She got and that's why the line that Medusa says when they first get there, I don't like bullies.
It's
I
like nah, facts, because
I
you
don't
you
like
really
bullies
you really
because
the victim, girl.
mm-hmm. And it's
Like
crazy. And going back to what Percy's mom said, not all monsters look like monsters. They're
not
not.
all.
I mean, not all. I'm sorry. Let
Yeah,
me.
no. Yeah, no. I think you said it
Oh,
right.
yeah. Hold on. Let
Not
me
everything
back
that
up.
looks like a monster is a monster, or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Not everyone who looks like a hero is a hero. Not everyone who looks like a monster is a monster.
Yeah,
So,
facts.
so yeah.
So once they defeat Medusa, cut off her head or whatever, they mail that to Olympus via Hermes because he's the messenger god,
Mm-hmm.
and Hermes is Luke's papa.
Right.
So
Oh,
I mean that's a little side story, and he was in this more than Luke's papa. Hermes was in this a lot more than he actually like is in the book, and
oh,
I'm like,
I didn't know that.
because Luke got a lot more backstory in this than like he is supposed to. Because Luke is a character that they really should have let bake over time. Luke's like full story doesn't really come to fruition until like the fifth book,
Got you.
because that's when like the last prophecy really comes through. Like literally, the last book is called the Last Olympian,
Yeah.
and it's like, I mean, it's I'm not even gonna talk about like the prophecy for that book or anything. I already told you kind of like what the idea of the prophecy in that book is, but I'm not gonna like go into that and go spoiling that if you haven't read the book or got
Yeah.
into that. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
let y'all get a chance to get into that. Like I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
That's not for me to spoil for
Right.
y'all.
Can I go? Let me go back to like the Medusa thing though too.
Hmm.
The actress who played her too,
Hmm.
her voice of how she was telling the story because it's different from the mythos version and
Hmm.
uh but how like because of course since she got cursed by Athena, Annabeth really doesn't like her and whatnot, and she stands by her mom. But the way that Medusa or the actress that's telling her story to Percy and Grover, you see her like she really captivated. Dang, she really came through when it comes to the making you feel bad for her. Because when you think
Hmm.
of Medusa from the outside, you think, oh, that she's crazy or like, oh, she's evil or whatever. But like like how Percy said, not everyone who looks like a monster is a monster. Um, and her eyes, like I don't know if those were contacts or if it was CGI or something, but it was the makeup and CGI in this film. I'm
Oh
always gonna
yeah, all
say
the
it.
VFX was fire.
The VFX was just so beautiful. Mm.
I just want a side note to like there's this point in episode 2 where where Grover goes to see like the council of
Yeah, I forgot.
he goes to see the
I
council
was gonna talk about that.
of Cloven elders, and he goes to see this one lady. I forgot what her name is already, and she's like basically a part of a tree, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like
And
so
she
hidden
come.
into the tree. The makeup department killed that because she's so hidden in the
Mm-hmm.
tree you didn't even see her till she moved. I mean,
Yeah, it's like how you see those not those paintings, but those like body paint type
yeah,
artists, and she literally blended through the tree, and you think, okay, girl was just looking at a tree, and then you see her
nah. She
move.
said
She moved. She turned her head, and she came out of the tree like, I'm sorry,
that
what?
wasn't even CGI. You could tell by what
That was
happened in that scene. That was makeup department right there.
that was all like hand.
That was the costume makeup department right there. They did that.
Mm-hmm.
They did
Yeah.
that hands down.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into episode 4. We might have to make this into 2
Oh,
episodes.
we're making this 2 episodes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we already reached an hour and a half. So,
Yeah.
and we're at episode 4. It's the perfect time to like turn this into 2 episodes. Yeah, we're going to cut
Mm-hmm.
this in half.
Yeah.
Episode 4, I plunged to my death, which is a name taken straight from chapter 13 from the book.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm not gonna lie. How do you? This is a kind of a side note, but how did you feel about it going straight to black instead of transitioning into a
I
different
didn't
scene?
like that.
Okay, I didn't. I kind of understood it at first. It didn't bother me,
Same.
and then at first I'm like, okay, I get it. These are chapters.
It wasn't even that. I just like a lot of TV shows do that, but like when it's on streaming, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they do it for commercials, but it's also like
Yeah. I don't like it. Yeah.
especially when like the commercials just become like if I was watching it on like Hulu because
We're
like Hulu
already
and
gonna get an
Disney
ad.
Plus are yeah, like sometimes it just pauses in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
it'll just stop in the middle of the episode. It won't even stop at a part where it just pauses. It doesn't
Yeah.
really help.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just had to ask. All right. Episode 4.
Yeah. This is I plunged to my death. At this point, they're on the train. Um they were previously on the bus. Now they're on the train. No. Yes, they were previously on the bus and now
Yeah.
they're on the train.
Mm-hmm.
They were on the bus before they got to
Reduce
Medusa's
this
house.
place.
I just kind of skipped over all of that because I mean, not much happens there. Um Other than Electo shows up yet again. By the way, Electo was played by Tammy.
Yeah.
Tammy 2.
Tammy
Did
too
you see
from
that?
Parks and Rec. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh."
I was like,
I
hey,
was
let's
looking at like the
go.
cast. I was looking at the cast to find like what Grover's name was, and then like I saw her face and I was like,
Wait a minute. I know you.
wait, I know who that is. And then I tapped the thing and I was like,
Tammy
Tammy?
too.
I was like, Tammy?
Yep.
Tammy. I was like,
Tammy.
this is like I keep forgetting her and Ron are dating. Or not
Well, they're
dating, married.
married. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say well married. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like yeah. It's always funny to see them together. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
Tammy? I was like, Ron, are you okay? Are you alright? I was like, yeah, I forgot they're married. Which always makes those scenes more funny.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Parks and Rec, you should watch it. It's wholesome
Phenomenal.
and also funny.
Mm-hmm. Better than The
Past
Office.
season
Yeah, I
one.
said it.
Past season one. Like season one feels like inconsequential to the show. Like get past season one and then the show is hilarious. Like season one is kind of like and then you watch the rest and you're like, this show is great.
Yeah. She killed
Tangent aside.
Electo.
Yeah, she killed Electo. Tangent aside. So they're on the train. And this is at the time where Percy and Annabeth are starting to open up to each other, get more comfortable. You got Annabeth starting to open up about Dahlia and um
Her her dad, right?
yeah, she opened up about her dad, like I was about to say, like about like how they grew up, their parents, and their views on the gods. So Um, I actually already mentioned this. I don't like the lack of Grover. Like, it would have meant more if Grover was in this scene and Grover was also talking as well. Like, that it was actually like a trio thing. I mean, I see why they did it just like this, because Percy didn't like Annabeth at first, and Annabeth kind of just like
He
it's kind of like man,
he was
like that.
she was dragging him along the quest.
Yeah, it was. It's just kind of a thing. They trying to also they're planting the seeds of the romance early on.
Yeah,
So I see it, but also like they keep excluding Grover, so like it doesn't feel like a trio. And this is also supposed to be a trio.
yeah. I had to remind myself that like throughout the whole like series of like these are still, and I shout out Movie Flame once again. He kept on bringing up like they're supposed to be a trio. It's a Three Musketeers. Stop separating them. And I
It's
have to
really like the golden trio, like in Harry Potter. Like they have a golden trio like thing,
yeah, yeah, like
and it wasn't golden trioing. Like
right.
it very much wasn't giving me golden trio. And that's something I didn't like. As much as I wasn't feeling this Grover, it still was eliminating the fact that they were supposed to be that it was supposed to be the three of them. They ride
Yeah.
for each other. You know what I'm saying? They got
Hmm.
close. They this wasn't in the same way. Like, of course, I'm gonna keep comparing this to Harry Potter in the sense of like
Trio wise. Sorry.
it has some similarities in the sense of like story structure where like these three people they get close, they become friends, and they have like a series of adventures that push them forward
Hmm.
against like a main source of evil. So
Yeah.
like it's definitely similar towards that. And then
Yeah.
there's a three-headed dog. So
True. True.
like Cerberus and Fluffy are essentially the same thing. So
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
um one major change is that Echidna shows up earlier in the
Mm.
story. Echidna shows up earlier in the story when they're on the. I'm sorry.
She had a long day, people.
No, I'm fine. I couldn't sleep last night, but I'm good.
Mm.
Echidna shows up earlier in the story. Don't get confused. We were talking about Electo earlier. Echidna shows up earlier in the story, which is different. Like the mother of monsters is Echidna. Now,
Hmm.
appearing to the kids on the train, which she late in the book, she shows up in the book. She shows up when they're already on the arch, I think,
Mm.
and her speech was like super creepy, like, ugh. But her showing up earlier like really builds up the tension. It gives you like, especially because like after they get off the train, um, just
She's hunting them down. Well,
right, her and like her with the
Chimera.
chimera hunting them down, the chimera stabbing Percy, like injecting him with venom, like
Hmm.
really building up the tension because you know you see Percy kind of getting like paler, like it's you see like the tension building with this.
Yeah.
It's a decent amount of like you're seeing the tension build. It's decent. It's one of those changes where you're like, this is good. This is good.
And of course, one of the most hilarious scenes is in like two times in this episode where they're running from the Chimera as soon as Annabeth stabs it in its tail, and of course, the humans, the mere mortals, they see Percy and the Three Musketeers running from them, and then you see the cops, and then you see the little Chihuahua just strolling along. It was hilarious. It was freaking hilarious. And of course, they're splashing Percy
Oh, water, and
with
they just
water,
splashing him
and
with water.
like This will help.
They're
This will
like,
help.
"This will probably help because water heals him." So, like, they
Yeah.
thought that was gonna help.
It turns out only salt water is what actually heals him faster,
Uh,
right?
yeah. The
Yeah.
CGI on the Chimera looked amazing.
Bruh.
Uh,
My gosh.
when I saw it, I was like,
Because I thought I had
"That
knew
looks
what a
crazy."
I thought I had knew what a chimera was. I had this image in my head. That that creature right there was badass.
I don't think the Chimera was in the movie.
No, it wasn't, but I learned about Greek mythology too, like in
No,
school.
I was just thinking out loud. I mean, I was just
Oh,
thinking, like, I
oh.
don't think the Chimera was in the movie,
No, it
and it
wasn't.
wasn't.
Yeah.
He was just taking out the best parts, like
hmm Like the chimera is a lion head, but had a
dragon
lion,
body,
but dragon body with
dragon
horns
tail,
and
hail. It's a whole like amalgamation of stuff, to
and
be honest, and
yeah,
it's creepy
scorpion
looking.
tail. And when it was breathing fire, it looked like those lizards in holes that like
Oh,
fanned out.
the yellow spotted lizard.
Yeah, like a yellow spotted lizard, and it opened up and it breathed out fire. I was like, yo, this is so freaking badass.
Percy also learned how to breathe, or learned he could breathe underwater in this
hmm
episode. But that was after they let me preface this by saying they were in St. Louis, um, at
On
the St.
the
Louis Arch,
yeah,
which they made a change. They made it an an Athenian temple,
mm.
which of course is Annabeth's. Oh my gosh, and which is Annabeth's mother. Jesus. Um,
It's a tongue twister
right? They changed how Percy fell into the water because originally Percy jumped into the water.
versus fallen.
Right. But in a in like a interview, not an interview, but like he was having kind of like a I don't know what to call it, like a book signing, like where he's talking with like the kids and stuff like that,
hmm
the fans. Um one of the kids like asked a question and he was like, well, if the arch is so far away from the bay, how did he jump into the water? And Rick Riordan didn't know that it was that far away from the water.
Right.
He was like, it was like maybe a wind blast. It was like maybe a wind blew him, like maybe a
Yeah.
strong wind blew him, but like even like with how far it is away from the with how far away it is, like it doesn't really make it like kind of work.
Doesn't make
So
sense. Yeah.
it's just too far away from the bay. So
hmm
he this kind of works with how he had like his father kind of reach out and grab him.
hmm And like how the fighting scene to me was like really topped off the episode because first off, let's commend Percy's bravery throughout all of this. Like him actually sacrificing himself in a lot of cases. Like because at first when they were running down the stairwell, Annabeth wanted to fight the Chimera, and Percy was like, "Okay, here." Well, he gave her Riptide, and as soon
Mhm.
as she grabbed it, this dude did a smooth yeet and pushed her
Yeah,
down
that
the
was great.
stairwell and closed the door behind him. And Grover and Annabeth are like, "Percy, no, don't do it. You can't fight the Chimera." Blah blah blah. And of course, it was realistic. Chimera was whooping that ass, and of course, Echidna broke through the floor, and Percy was hanging on, and then he fell. And this is why I say music is a character of a movie, because the minute Percy let go, the music was ended. I mean, the music went silent, and you just hear and it's Percy falling from the arch. And first you see a wide shot of Percy falling, and you see like then it switches to him almost like having a GoPro on his chest of him falling down, and you see how far this fall is. And then it turns to the left and water comes up from the bay, like how Gabby said about Rick made a mistake thinking that it was over water, and how they corrected this was so freaking smooth. The water came up and saved Percy, dragging him into the water to make him.
And obviously, you can infer that his father,
Of course, that
the
was
king of the sea, just.
mm-hmm, exactly, and it shows
And here he
again.
has an interaction with his. Well, it was kind of a sea creature. It was.
What it
We learned later what it was, but it was in the shape of his mother
right?
speaking to him.
Yeah. What is that called anyway?
I don't remember.
Okay,
It wasn't.
I just call it a seaweed creature.
Yeah, it was more like his father trying to communicate a couple of things to him.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was his assistant or something. Or messenger. I mean, technically it's a messenger, but
Right, it was just a messenger, like
yeah,
his father trying to communicate with him. It wasn't really anything
yeah.
that big.
And it
Um,
showed, and it in those interactions with the messenger, um, which I don't know about in the books, if they got. I mean, I know they got his character right as far as how he looks, but how he acts, I'm not sure. You can say more to that than I can, but you actually feel that his dad cares about him, that Poseidon actually cares about Percy versus um the his brother's kids and their interactions with them. Like they don't give a damn about them and whatnot.
well, I would say
Well,
like in the books,
uh,
like it was like Poseidon cared, but he didn't overtly show like so
it wasn't. Yeah.
much. Like I remember reading this comment and somebody said like it wasn't so like overt, like it was not. I think she said like superficial, but I think
Mm,
that's not really the word that she meant to use. I think she meant like here he clearly went to show in some ways that he cared for Percy.
yeah.
Like he did some small things to show that he cared for Percy. Like
Mm-hmm.
they the show said they weren't allowed to have like direct interactions,
Mm-hmm.
but he went out of his way to do, especially when Percy learned that he was a demigod. He went out of his way to do things that like showed that he cared.
Yeah.
Whereas like in the book, it was kind of like these little. It didn't really feel like
It was
he.
like it
It would be
felt
hard to tell. It would be hard to tell because it felt like very like
like
I said, like
tame.
she said, like superficial because it felt like really on the surface type stuff. So
Like
like
it
I
was.
would go with that girl that said like very superficial because it's like, but do you?
Mm-hmm. You talking about book wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Like you could you it was more like you care, but like
it's not that much.
it's hard to tell because of the restrictions of a god. But
Got you.
it was very much Poseidon was one that cared more
Yeah. Right.
because
Right.
the gods definitely don't give a shit about their kids. Like
Yeah.
Hades has gone out of his way to say that he does not like Khalees. Like
Yeah.
he's like her. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just that like that him caring as a father was really cool. Um yeah.
So we should just stop here for this episode,
Yeah. Yep.
and we should continue and post part 2,
Yep.
episode
So
5 through 8.
yep. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. We got more stuff to talk about because it gets even better from here. It gets
Definitely.
way better. Episode 5 is by far probably the greatest, if not the greatest episode of this season, in my opinion. in my opinion. It rivals probably the last episode. Ooh. Yeah. I
Moving
don't know.
forward,
Yeah. If
make sure
y'all
you like
enjoy.
and subscribe.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yeah. Make sure you follow us. Comment down below what you liked, what you didn't like.
And come back for part 2.
Exactly. We love y'all. Peace.